Hey guys, welcome back to Treble Valley Farm. I'm Ari.
I'm John.
And it's 2023 now.
So Happy New Year.
We just wanted to detail all of the things we accomplished in our first year here on the farm. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at what the house site looks like now, since we've never showed this before on the channel.
Yeah. As you can see, it still looks like a junkyard. Our first year was really only 8 months. We closed in April of 2022 and it's January of 23 right now. So, we did get a lot done. We didn't document all of it, but I think that we wanted to just go over it, make sure we at least touched on some of the stuff that we didn't record.
And we'll actually include some videos that we never showed on the channel last year as well.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Let's get into it.
At the time that this video is coming out, it's been a little over a year since we initially put in our offer on the property. So for anyone who doesn't remember what it looked like before we started, or anyone who didn't see that video, I'll leave the link here.
We saw the listing in probably March of 2022, and we'd been looking for a property for quite some time. This property hit a couple of our checkboxes. And so we ended up seeing the listing just a couple days after it was posted. Kind of put in an offer almost immediately, maybe the next day or so. Used a real estate agent in the area. It wasn't the smoothest buying process. A lot of stuff was just a little bit more complicated than it had to be, I think. We were pretty excited, started getting ready to head out there and clean up all of the trash. One of the first things that we did was buy an ATV to get around the property and move some items around.
The first big project that we tackled was what we're calling the tool shed. It's like a hoarder situation turned into a rat's heaven. So that took a couple of days and like 13 trash bags to clean up, but we knocked that out in one of the first weekends there.
We needed a place to store basically all of our equipment and tools and stuff inside.
So it's now the tool shed. And then we kind of just went around aimlessly and started piling up trash and doing burn piles. And
first couple weeks that we owned the property, we were camping in just a regular camping tent. So we only had weekends to be up there.
And we went around limbing up and thinning out cottonwood trees in a couple different groves around the creek. And we got to work clearing out a dedicated road past the house site back to where our camp is now.
One of the main things that we started working on was building out the camping area. A big project there was building an outhouse. So started digging the pit for that. An interesting part about the property is that the ground about 2 feet down is almost rock solid. So it took us quite a bit longer than we had anticipated. But
we actually ended up giving up on that project and kind of moving on to some more stuff around camp for a month or two.
It wasn't until my cousin actually opted to take that on as a personal challenge to finish that. And we were chipping away inch by inch just to get a deep enough hole.
While we were working on the road back to camp, we started building the Tower of Tires, which now has about 45 tires in it. And that's not all of them.
There's still some around the property.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to all of them yet. Right around that time, we realized that someone had stolen some items.
Well, certainly after we closed on the property, it was abandoned for a long time, and I guess the word hadn't got out that it was sold and that there were new people living there. But it definitely got us in gear to start fixing up some of the fences around the front of the property, get the gate fixed, and just make it look like people were spending time there.
And then it was May and John's 30th birthday.
Yep. So we always thought it would be really cool to have a canvas wall tent. So we decided to, build a somewhat more permanent camping setup instead of the camping tent. So we built a 12 by 14 foot platform canvas wall tent, which was a pretty awesome project.
John drew up a schematic, and his brother, cousin, and dad all came out for that weekend, and the 5 of us whipped it out in about 4 days. So we officially moved out of our small camping tent and into the tent cabin and started cleaning up the debris inside and around the creek.
Having started to explore the other side of the creek as the water sort of started to recede into early summer, we realized that we had a pond on that side of the property, which is pretty cool. It's certainly overgrown. We started, limbing up trees, getting rid of some old brush and debris. And that'll be a project sort of in the future. We haven't really touched it yet.
While we were exploring that other side of the creek, we realized that we have beavers on our property. We haven't actually seen one yet, but we've seen a lot of fresh evidence that there are beavers over there. So that's really exciting. Then we met our second closest neighbors down the road. So that's been really nice. We have someone to talk to when we're out there. The next big move we made was cleaning out that box truck / step van / bread truck / whatever you've heard us call it. And we ended up posting it for sale on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and got a lot of hits on it really fast.
A couple of guys came in from out of state, picked it up, and it was a task getting it onto their trailer, but we did it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, another set of neighbors from further down the street came over with their tractor and ended up helping get it on the truck, because it was a very sketch maneuver the boys were trying to pull there.
Yeah.
But the man who ended up taking the truck from us intends to turn it into a food truck.
Speaking of neighbors, they actually had given us part of a fence, which was pretty awesome. So we fixed up the entrance to our property.
And then we finally actually built the outhouse structure over the hole.
Yeah, so I guess this was actually a little while after we built the tent platform. We finally built our outhouse, which was pretty cool. Definitely a game changer.
In the middle of the outhouse project, we had a trespasser on our property.
Yeah, we spoke about this in another video. It's definitely a weird situation.
I'll link that video here as well in case you missed it.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the summer season, I planted an apple tree near the front gate that we had recently fixed up.
And towards the end of summer, I mowed down my first apple tree.
There was an unfortunate incident involving a string trimmer. Then John got back to work on a solo project, stripping the insulation and finishing cleaning up in the tool shed and making it a more comfortable space for him to work and store his tools.
Yeah, when we first started cleaning out, we kind of got it to a point where we could store some stuff in there, but it was that's certainly half finished, and frankly it still is to this day.
Yeah, at this point when we use the word clean, what we really mean is cleared out, since we don't actually have running water.
Yeah.
Speaking of running water, we scheduled a well and a septic inspection.
Yeah, we've tried to get some of the utilities inspected out there,
but we have been stood up several times.
Yeah. Unfortunately, those projects are still on hold until we figure out, if we can get some people out there to look at it.
We had installed some trail cams around the property, and the very first time we checked the stored footage, we were very surprised to find a gigantic mountain lion very casually walking straight through our camp right in front of the tent.
He or she has become a regular visitor to the property. We've never seen him in person, but we've caught multiple videos and photos of him wandering around the campsite.
We have removed some of the fencing around there in that animal pen area. We did an initial walkthrough and sort of made some preliminary plans for how we want to design and rebuild that space. Animals are definitely in our future.
For sure. Yeah. A big thing that goes on sometimes without recording is, we're always clearing trash. We've done countless dump runs at this point.
So as the warm season wound down, we started putting most of our efforts into clearing the area directly around the campsite so that we could have a more pleasant camping experience while we weren't working.
Yeah.
And then those neighbors that gave us all of that fencing material went away on a 9-day vacation, and we house sat for them, took care of their animals while they were gone, which was really nice because we were able to do some really disgusting work that needed to be done while we had access to their shower.
Yeah.
So that was huge. We cleaned out or started cleaning out the vintage Spartan trailer, which I posted a video on. I'll link that right here.
The disgusting jobs we're talking about are just clearing out the rat and mouse and squirrel infested caves that have been created around the property. I mean, it was very nice to have an area to go shower after that. Gearing up for winter, we did get a truckload of gravel delivered. We're going to use this on part of the roadway back to the tent site. It's still sitting in a giant pile. Haven't actually used it yet. Snow came rather rapidly and we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah, but before the snow came, our neighbor with the tractor came over and helped us grade part of that road that was like a very slippery and very tilted. So it is ready for the gravel.
At that point, we were focused on, bucking up some logs for firewood. We intended to be up here for some winter camping trips to just kind of relax and enjoy the area. Focused on some, tent upgrades here and there, finishing up some little projects around the tent.
Getting our beds on frames and off the floor.
Yeah, just some quality of life stuff went on as the snow came in, and we just enjoyed being out there.
Yep.
So that was everything we accomplished in the first 8 months of owning the farm. And I'd say it was a pretty good 8 months. Winter came in a little early, I think. It got pretty cold pretty quick.
And we basically just spent the last month and a half of the year kind of cozy camping and just enjoying the property. We have some really big plans for 2023.
Yeah, a lot of work that needs to be done.
And some big things coming.
Yeah.
So
We're looking forward to it. I hope you are too. It's going to be a good year. We're going to get a lot done.
yeah, and we're excited to share it. So stick around and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you on the next one.